Hi, I'm Kat and I play Red. I'm going to call today Throwback Thursday. We're going to have a look at a game that we looked at many years ago on the blog as a written post when it was a prototype. And now we're going to look at the finished product. I love this, it's great. It's really nice to see how things develop and change and generally look much better. So today we're going to be looking at Exploriana from Triple Ace Games. They're a small British company. It's a small box game. Let's have a look at what's inside. In Exploriana, players are the head of a scientific institute, recruiting explorers to seek out new discoveries from around the globe. Recruit specialist explorers, send them around the globe, take risks, explore the unknown. Discoveries in the form of animals, treasures, locations, maps and precious orchids will grant you points, but beware of the hazards. Cards will also grant renown, which determines turn order and points at the end of the game. The game is played over a series of rounds until one of the region decks is empty and the game end is then triggered. Each round is played over 4 phases. The first phase is to recruit explorers. We're going to have 1 explorer more than the number of players. So let's say we currently have 3 players. So we'll pop out 4 explorers. In reverse player orders, players are going to choose one of these and place it in front of them to be able to use its ability at a later point. 1 will always be left behind, which gets a coin on and is left for the next round. Then, in renown order, players will place their explorers in the different regions of the map. Taking turns, players place until all explorers are on the board. Then, will it get to explore the different regions, one at a time. We'll come on to that and how that works in a bit. Then, at the end of the round, you're going to check for the game end, potentially flip any guides that you've used and move on to the next round. In order from the top to the bottom, players will then take turns activating the explorers they placed in the last phase. Starting with South America, then moving to Africa, and then onto the Far East. South America has a lower risk, but a lower reward. Moving down, medium risk, medium reward, higher risks, and higher rewards in the Far East. At this point, you can choose to use any of the Explorer cards that you gained at the start of the round. So you pay the cost shown at the top, apply the effect, and then discard it, which I think I'm going to do this turn. So I'm going to pay 2 gold to use my Geographer. Now, my Geographer allows me to look at the top 2 cards of the deck and put one back on the top and the other at the bottom. So, what are we doing when we're exploring? Let's have a look. There's a push your luck element here. So I'm going to draw these 2. Oh, and they're both quite nice. I'm going to put that back on the top and that one on the bottom. Going to turn over the top cards of the region, potentially until there's 5 cards here. I can continue taking that action until I have 3 different or 3 identical hazards. So let's have a look. That one's fine, that's an animal. That one's fine, but there's a hazard here. Now, at this point, I can choose to pay 3 coins and hire my guide here. And what he does is he covers up that hazard. So if I paid 3 coins, which isn't really necessary, I'll do that. Now, I've actually been quite lucky. I have 5 cards, I have no hazards. So now I can choose to take cards. Because I have 5 cards, I actually get 2 picks. The things I can decide to take are all of the animals, which in this case would be those 2. I can take 1 non-animal card. So I could take this treasure or one of these 2 locations. Alternatively, I could choose to take a Lost Explorer. Now, these are worth between 2 and 4 points, though you don't know until you take them. The points are marked on the bottom. So, because I have 5 cards, I can take 2 picks. Now, I'm actually, just to show you, I'm going to take this location, which is worth 1 point, but will also give me 4 points on the renown track. So I'm going to move that to there, and that comes into my display. For my second action, now I've used a lot of gold this turn, so I think I'm going to take the treasure, which will give me 1 point, but will also give me 4 coins, which I need at the moment because I've just spent all my money. So I'm going to take that and pop that into my display. If I'd been particularly unlucky and had a load of hazards here, my explorer here would become lost. At which point I remove him from the board, I get nothing from the display, and I'd place another Lost Explorer here at random. So now we've done South America, we'll move these up and move on to Africa, which is the next region. Now, this is a green explorer, so this is obviously Rob's. So, Rob, I'm going to draw on your behalf. Ooh, orchid. And now we have 2 different hazards. So this is the push your luck element, at its finest. So now we've actually got completely lost. So, Lost Explorer, these cards get shuffled back into the main deck, and we draw 2 more cards for that region. So I'm sure that was one that was out. There we go. But that is the end of your turn, Rob. Sorry. Then we move on to the Far East. Now, there's already 2 different hazards out here, so that's a bit dangerous. So I could choose to take this map fragment. 1 map fragment on its own isn't worth a lot of points. However, if you collect a lot at the end of the game, they're potentially worth 5 points each. The orchids are also a special type of card. If you manage to get a set, 1 from each region, by the end of the game, they'll grant you 15 points. However, if you don't, you're only going to get 2 points. I think for now, I'm going to take, nice and simple, I'm just going to take that map fragment and not risk. However, now there's only 1 card in this region. There must always be 2. I've finished my action, so pop that out there, and I would have been okay taking that. Never mind. At the end of the round, you're going to make sure you have your explorers back, flip our guide and take that back in the pool and check for game end. Game end will happen when one or more of these decks run out. At that point, you're going to bring the reserve decks in and play to the end of the round. At the start of the next round, we're going to draw some new explorers. We're doing 4, so let's do that. Check for player order. So I'm just going to quickly put some more of these up. Player order is determined by the renown track. So in this case, I'd go first, green would go second, and black would be last. Not only does the renown affect the turn order, there are also some extra points at the end of the game for the players with the highest renown. Play continues until one of these decks runs out. Then play to the end of the round and commence to final scoring. The things you're going to score at the end of the game are your renown. In a 3-player game, there's 12 points for the player in first place, 6 points for the player in second, and 0 for the person in third. These points are variable depending on the number of players. However, there's a handy little chart in the rulebook that tells you this. Then you're going to look at mission cards. Now, we haven't spoken about these yet because they're not very useful unless you know the rest of the game. At the start of the game, you would have been given 2 random mission cards. So let's have a look at what I've got. Collect a location from 3 different regions. So I need a location from each of the 3 areas. So in my Fate game so far, I only had the 1. However, if I'd managed to get one from the Far East and Africa as well, that would give me 4 points. The other card I have here is collect 6 or more non-animal discovery cards. So in this case here, I have 3, but let's say that's 6 and I get the points from that. So you're going to get 4 points for each mission you've successfully completed. Any lost explorers you picked up over the course of the game are worth the points shown. So if I had these 2, that would be 5 points. Coins are worth 1 victory point for each 2 coins you have. So 2, 4, I'd get 2 points for my coins. Then you're going to look at your cards. Now, animals are worth the points shown on the cards. Basically, this blue symbol here represents points. So both of these animals would be worth 1 point. Location and treasure cards are just worth the points shown. So this location would be 1 point and the treasure would be worth 1 point. Maps are then worth a number of points depending on how many you've collected. And as I mentioned before, the orchids reward you with a full 15 points for a set of 3 or 2 points for each individual orchid. The player with the most points wins. In the case of a tie, the player highest on the renown track will take the win. Exploriana is so much improved on the prototype we saw. I'll put a link down below to the blog post and you can have a look at the pictures. The colours are amazing, they're so vibrant. I remember it being quite brown before, so this is gorgeous, and of course the animal artwork is all lovely. This is much nicer. The colour palette is still really good. Yeah, it's really nice to see. I do like a bit of push your luck, though it's not a push your luck game, because you could go here and take something you're sure of, take an explorer. There are other options. You don't have to play the push your luck game, which is really nice for people that find that a bit scary. Also, in this version, there's a ton of little variations and add-ons to the game. We have relics that go in the towns, in the regions here. We've also got a poison chalice. Now, there are cards that bounce that around among the players, and that will give you -4 points. There's lost leaders, there's bonuses, I think there's 6 different mini expansions that you can add. I think they recommend up to 3. So you can mix and match and play around with those a lot, that give you some real surprises as you're drawing the cards when stuff comes up. So that's pretty awesome. If you're a solo gamer, there's also a solo mode where you're playing against an AI. I don't do solo plays, sorry, but it does have a solo mode. It's a fun little game. I like push your luck. You're not completely stumped if you mess up on one turn, because you go back the next turn and play it safe, in theory. We've got the mission cards, we've got the explorer cards. There's so much more to this game than when we first saw it. It's a really nice family game. Obviously, the animals are all relative to the region. So there's a little bit of education if you want that too. So yeah, that's Exploriana from Triple Ace Games. Check it out. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, click like, subscribe, share it, all that gubbins. Come and say hello on the socials. Instagram, we're currently doing a 365 challenge. So we're playing 365 games over the course of the year. So there's a new game going up there every day. And we have begun our countdown to Essen on Twitter. So go over and have a look at the games we're excited to check out there. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.